Hello everyone, and welcome to today's webinar, which is all about our latest global research, the Agents of Transformation. John Rakowski, Director of Technology Strategy at AppDynamics, will be unveiling some of the results and going through 5 different profiles of technologists that we identified through the research. If you have any questions during the webinar, please submit these in the chat window and we'll get to them at the end of the presentation. Over to you, John.
Well, thank you, Lloydie, and hello to everyone on this webinar today. So my name is John Rakowski. I'm Senior Director of Technology Strategy at AppDynamics, the application intelligence company. Now, today in this webinar, I'm not going to go into too much detail in regards to what we do at AppDynamics. I'll talk about at the end of this session about our approach to our solution, but I really want to talk about something kind of more important today. And this is talking about all of you who are on this webinar, because we're all technologists. And actually what I want to go through is the results of a global research study that we did last year at AppDynamics. Now, in this research study, we interviewed 1,000 people from around the globe, 1,000 technologists. And we asked them about their opinions, their thoughts, their feelings in regards to the way technology is changing the world. So we asked them about the rapid pace of technology innovation. So I'm going to go through some of the stats, some of the real headline stats in regards to this study. And then I'm going to go through 5 types of technologists that we identified through these interviews. And one of these types was something that we determined as an agent of transformation. Now, these are technologists who are leading technologists working for global enterprises who are really driving technology innovation in their organizations. So they're really at the forefront of what we could say is digital transformation. And obviously at the end, we'll also have some time for questions. So why was this study so important for me personally? Well, I've got 2 children. I've got 2 daughters, Anna, who's 6 years old, and also Heidi, who's 3 years old. And earlier last year, and this seemed maybe familiar to kind of many of you on this kind of webinar today, I was watching my 2 daughters, Anna and Heidi, play on my iPad. And I couldn't help but notice how different their childhood was to mine, how technology had vastly changed their experience of being a child. Well, this got me thinking about how technology will change their life by the time they are my age. And so by the time of 2050, Anna will be 38 years old and Heidi will be 34 years old. So I'm 38 today. So by 2050, they will be around about my age. And as a past analyst at Forrester Research, I decided to do some research myself. And I found a great website called futuretimeline.net, in which academics, experts, and also technologists from around the world make predictions to the way technology is going to change the world. And what I found was fascinating, and it was also interesting. I'm sure you're going to find these predictions fascinating and interesting as well. So what I want to do is take you on a journey to 2050, and let's explore some of these predictions together. So for the first year I want to stop off on is the year 2025, because it's predicted that in the year 2025, smartphones, as we know them in their current form factor, will become obsolete. Now just think about that for a moment. We've only had the modern smartphone now for just over a decade. But for those of you on the call who have got the latest Apple Watch, well, you'll know that the seeds of change is already starting to happen here, because the latest Apple Watch has cellular connectivity. But what experts are predicting is that in the year 2025, we'll start to have smart contact lenses and also earpieces that seamlessly make calls and browse applications. And if you want another prediction in regards to mobile, well, in the year 2027, it is predicted that we'll be able to text by thinking. And this is not a far-fetched prediction. In fact, this technology is already being trialed out today over in Silicon Valley. Now, I don't know about you, but for me, that prediction is pretty scary. It could get me into a whole world of trouble. So the 2020s promises a decade of dramatic change when it comes to mobile. But let's move on to the 2030s, because the 2030s promises an even more incredible decade when it comes to technology innovation. A decade in which this notion of Industry 4.0 really starts to take hold. Now, I'm wondering whether anyone on the webinar knows who this person is up on the screen. This person is Lil Miquela. And in 2017, she released her first pop single. She also has over 1 million followers on Instagram. But guess what? She's not real. She's a piece of software, a piece of artificial intelligence. And this is significant because the BBC is predicting that by this decade, robot automation will take up to 800 million jobs. And you'll probably be thinking, well, what will happen to people's job roles? Well, LinkedIn is predicting that there'll be a whole host of new job roles created that are not even in existence today. Jobs such as nanomedic, jobs such as body part maker. You know, advances in 3D printing will mean that by this decade, we'll be able to print body parts both efficiently and effectively. And data. Well, data will become so prevalent in every single enterprise that there'll be specific job roles focused on the handling of waste data. So dramatic changes through the 2030s. But let's move on to the year 2045. And I wonder whether anyone knows who this person is. So this is Ray Kurzweil. And Ray is one of Google's leading technologists. He's also an avid futurologist. He likes to make predictions. And in fact, he's got a high accuracy rate when it comes to his predictions becoming true. His accuracy rate is 86%. And what he's predicting is that by the year 2045, we will hit the point of singularity. And this is the point in which machines become smarter than humans. Let me say that again. Machines become smarter than humans. And all of this will happen by the time my two daughters are about to hit 30 years old. Let's move on to the final stop in our predictions tour, and this is the year 2050, because by this day, Anna and Heidi will be able to go on holiday, be able to travel over to the red planet easily. And advances in technology is already starting to happen in this area. If you look at programs such as SpaceX, it shows that movements towards this are already starting to happen. But just think about this for a moment. No longer will you have to go on holiday to America, to Spain, over to the Far East. You'll be able to go on holiday to the planet Mars in 2050, which is just absolutely incredible. So look, you can see that over the next 3 decades, the pace of technology innovation is going to speed up dramatically. The innovations which have happened over the last decade will really pale in significance in regards to what's going to happen over the next 3 decades. We're set for 3 decades of substantial, dramatic technology change. And it's in relation to these changes that we set off with our research, which we set off with our interviews, because we presented a vision just like this. And the first question which we asked this group of 1,000 technologists is, how does that make you feel? How do these changes make you feel? And what we found was really interesting. So let's dive into the results. Firstly, we found that when we asked this question about does this make you feel, well, we got back the fact that 67% worry that technology innovation is outpacing society's ability to harness it and adapt to change. And only 22%, that's less than a quarter of those 1,000 technologists, were optimistic that their organization is ready for the rapid pace of technology advancement. So even though we're experiencing an incredible number of years going forward, we've experienced an incredible decade that has just gone before us, people are worried really about whether their current organization is ready for that rapid pace of technology advancement. And we wanted to know, well, why was this the case? And so the next question that we then went on to ask was, well, what are you doing in your current job role at the moment, which makes you kind of feel and think in this way? And what we found was that 60% say that too much of their time is spent keeping existing software and systems up and running. So effectively keeping the lights on. They're not embracing these technology changes, these phenomenal innovations that are happening. In fact, what they're doing is just focusing on the day-to-day, focusing on just ensuring that their complex technologies, their complex applications are just up and running, so effectively keeping the lights on. Now, as a past analyst at Forrester Research, I used to ask a similar question like this back in 2014, and this stat has actually improved quite a bit, because in 2018 it would have been around about 80% of technologists would say that they're spending time keeping current systems up and running. But this is having a dramatic impact on job satisfaction, because half say, that's 500, that they are likely to leave their organization in the next 2 years. And here's my first kind of major statement that I'm going to make. And this major statement is that in 2019, we really are facing a digital transformation time bomb. We're facing a crisis when it comes to IT. At the end of the day, our roles as technologists are to help with the digital agenda, to not just keep the lights on, but to be actively involved in driving digital strategy. But unfortunately, with this stat that half are saying they're looking to leave their organization, that presents an incredible challenge for every enterprise in every single industry. We then wanted to find out a little bit more about why was this the case. I mean, that was such a significant stat. We wanted to find out about the cultural aspects of their place of work at the moment. We also wanted to find out whether they had the right technology and skills to support innovation, to support digital transformation. And what we found is that 86% from a cultural perspective feel an organization lags behind the most forward, innovative IT teams in their country. And even worse than that, 45%, nearly half, see themselves lagging more than 5 years behind. And this is quite an impactful stat, because if you think about it, 5 years is a long time when it comes to IT, when it comes to technology. 5 years ago, we're still talking about the cloud in terms of experimentation. But today in 2019, it really is the foundation of every single digital business. 5 years ago, we were still trying to define what we meant by DevOps, what we meant by continuous delivery. But many organizations in 2019 are moving ahead in regards to these areas. So when we say 5 years behind, that is a long time in the world of IT. And unfortunately, 55% say their organization doesn't encourage them to embrace the creative, future-looking side of technology. So it's no surprise then that most of the time is spent keeping the lights on, because organizations, leadership, are just not encouraging technologists today to focus on that future-looking side of technology. And when we went to ask questions then about technology and skills there to support technologists, well, 56% say that there is a surplus of outdated technology and skills within their IT department. So if you look at the phenomenal changes which have happened in the last 10 years, actually, it's not just about the physical changes when it comes to technology, like, you know, the cool new technologies which have come out, whether those are enterprise technologies such as cloud kind of platforms, continuous delivery kind of software. The real changes and the real dramatic impacts on our role as technologists has happened because there's been a need for us to change our skills, to be constantly updating our skill sets to match this kind of rapid pace of innovation. But 56% say they're kind of struggling to do this. And importantly, 85% say they don't have access to software and tools. They need to turn data into real-time context-specific insight. So again, as a past analyst, as someone who's worked at AppDynamics now for 4 years, I've attended so many technology conferences. Only this week I was over in Dubai at Gartner Symposium. And I guarantee that at every conference there is at least one session that focuses on big data strategy or analytics strategy. And analytics and big data are not new concepts. We all know that we need to find ways of harnessing data effectively and turn it into information quickly, because that's needed to make decisions. But 85% just don't have access to the software and tools. They need to turn data into information quickly, information that is useful. And this is having a dramatic impact on leadership and job satisfaction. In fact, only 26% of IT directors and managers feel their full potential is being achieved in their current role. And 58%, and this stat really kind of impacts me a lot, it hurts me as I am a kind of passionate technologist, because 58% say that often their work is in IT is so reactive, they forgot what attracted them to technology in the first place. That is a really sad stat for me, because technology, IT, is at the forefront of every single business. You're going to be successful in regards to digital transformation, and we can define digital transformation in a variety of different ways, as we know. The reality is technology is central to this, and our role as IT professionals is extremely important. And if we're facing a situation in which we're losing our passion for technology, then this has a major impact when it comes to recruitment. It has a major impact when it comes to encouraging graduates, students, to actually enter the world of IT. But look, it's not all about doom and gloom, because we also ask those technologists to strip away all their current concerns, all those kind of environmental kind of barriers which they're facing. And when we ask them to do this, we saw there's really a huge opportunity going forward for technologists. 71% care about how technology is changing the world, and 76% believe that emerging technologies will give them opportunities to develop their skills and careers. And more importantly, 69% want their career to leave a lasting and positive legacy. They want to go beyond just keeping the lights on. They want to be seen not just as technology leaders, but as business leaders who are driving the digital agenda in their organization, who are improving their careers by focusing on digital, this area of digital transformation, but they also need the support of their organizations. So what we did with these interviews then is that we then started to break down these technologists who we interviewed into 5 different types of technologists. And we based this assessment based on environmental, so whether they had the right support in their organization, the right mentors, the right kind of leadership, the right tools and solutions to help them in their journey. And we also kind of base this on personal characteristics, so whether they had the right soft skills, in fact they're probably the hardest skills to acquire, but whether they had the right personal characteristics in terms of character to kind of drive transformation initiatives. And here's how we kind of, these kind of buckets or types play out. So firstly, we uncovered a group of what we call disillusioned dreamers. These were the most impacted. These were the most impacted in terms of they've lost their passion for technology. This is 26%, over a quarter of that interview population, who said that they were least aware about the impact of technological advancements. They didn't have the support in their organization to drive innovation. They didn't have the tools, and they just were a bit lost in terms of having that passion to actually be a technologist. We also uncovered a group of frustrated innovators. This was a really interesting group. This was a group of people who were extremely passionate about technology, who believed in its benefits, who really wanted to do more for their organization. But unfortunately, they didn't have the right support in their organization, the right mentors to help them flourish and help them kind of drive innovation. We also uncovered a group of untapped heroes. Again, an incredibly interesting group. The untapped heroes were like the workhorses of the IT. They're really happy with their job as it is today. Happy kind of in the morning, maybe early at 6, kind of going home. They were happy being technologists, being focused on the technical side. They were happy just supporting the kind of business. They didn't have any aspirations really for moving into a technology leadership or business leadership position. And then we uncovered a group of digital pioneers. These were the kind of future leaders. They had the ambition, they had the support in their organization, but what they were kind of missing is the mentors to really help them navigate their organization and also help them navigate their careers to make the right decisions in order to accelerate their careers. So as you can see, there's only 4 types of technologists on this slide. Because we also uncovered our 5th type of technologist called the agent or the agents of transformation. Now this is a small subset of the population. I'll come on to that stat in a little bit. But effectively, they possess the personal skills and attributes needed to drive innovation. They had a perfect blend in their environment of having the right personal skills and also the right environmental support. But what was important is that they constantly focused on personal development. They were always looking every week to spend time networking with other technologists in other industries. They would spend time attending kind of meetups, attending conferences, and they actively put that into their schedule. So they never stopped learning. And each one of these agents of transformation, because it was such a small subset, were able to identify that they had the same kind of personal characteristics or similar personal characteristics. Firstly, they all took an outside-in approach when it comes to technology. They were excited about technology, but they were more excited about how it would improve the lives of their customers and also their employees. They also always asked the question why in regards to any technology investment. And any investment or decision they made was always taken from an outside-in approach. They also were comfortable inspiring those around them. People in the business looked to them as leaders, not just as technology leaders, but also as business leaders. They were also not afraid of breaking the status quo, not just doing things because this is the way we've always done it. They were also kind of focused on looking at new ideas. Sometimes this was pretty scary though, but all of them would drive innovation with courage. They were all leading digital transformation efforts within their organization. And sometimes what we found was that there was an element of fear in regards to this, but they had the conviction and their belief in what they were doing was the right thing because they took this outside-in approach. And so they were courageous in the way they were driving change and transformation within their businesses. But importantly, all of them realized the essential fact of having real-time contextual information to make the right decisions. We talked about this aspect of do you act on gut feel, and all of them said in today's world with this rapid pace of technology innovation, yes, gut feel does play a little bit in regards to the decisions what we make, but we base our decisions on having those facts, of having information when we need it, and the right information to help have conversations with the business, and also to make sure that we can properly attribute what we're trying to do to actually business elements of information. So real-time contextual information was extremely important. And here's the facts in regards to this group of the agents of transformation. When it came to our research, only 9% of those 1,000 technologists today would say they are agents of transformation. And when we asked, well, how many agents of transformation does your organization need to remain competitive, to remain successful over the next 10 years? Well, the answer came back as 45%. So the time really is now to act. The time is now for us in 2019 as technologists to start taking that leading role in our organization in regards to driving transformation, in regards to ensuring that we're accelerating our careers by focusing on really what matters. And I'd like to kind of end this by talking about, well, how does AppDynamics help in this way? I'm not going to go into tons of detail in regards to this, but I want to talk about the value that we provide in AppDynamics. If you're a current AppDynamics customer on this webinar today, that's fantastic. But I just want to reaffirm that the value that which we provide to our enterprise customers. And we base our value on 3 core pillars: visibility, insight, and action. And firstly, we provide visibility into all elements of data. One of the things that we've done in the last 5 years as an APM solution vendor is to focus on this concept of unified or full stack monitoring, making sure that in the most complex of environments, we've got data and information in regards to end user experience, the application itself, down to the code and all the way through to the supporting network. What's truly unique about AppDynamics in this market is that we don't just focus on technical data, we also focus on covering business data, so understanding how applications are really driving business value. And this leads us on to the insight that we provide. We're working heavily in the moment in regards to our roadmap and also our vision in how we incorporate machine learning and artificial intelligence. In the market today, these are kind of big buzzwords, but they're really important kind of buzzwords and important words in IT in general. It's all about how you can move faster. So one of the things that we announced at the start of the year was our announcement of Cognition Engine, the ability to machine learn events as they happen in stream, to detect performance anomalies early in very complex environments and help you get down to the root cause. But it's not just about the technical aspects. We're investing a lot in our Business IQ product, the ability to be able to help you to slice and dice data seamlessly to understand how applications are driving data. So understand and correlate technical data with business data to understand how every application release is actually moving the needle for your business. But what we're also focusing on is this concept and this pillar of value, which is of action. Because in today's world, when it comes to APM or monitoring in general, it can't just be about monitoring what's happening. You've got to be also inferring and recommending the right action or automating the right action. So one of the things that we're working with our customers, and what a lot of our customers do who have been using the AppDynamics platform for the last number of years, is that they're automating responses, intelligent responses in regards to incidents, resource scaling, cost optimization, and also network provisioning. But we're looking to drive this forward over the next couple of years, because in conjunction with Cisco, we're working on a joint product vision and product strategy in regards to the central nervous system for IT, and AppDynamics plays a central kind of role in regards to this, about understanding that data, correlating that data from being just about technical data into business data that can drive the right actions. That's something that we're working on right now, this concept of the central nervous system for IT. It's about our approach to artificial intelligence for IT operations, something that is known as AIOps for short. But this is kind of where we're going, and it's going to be an exciting kind of journey over the next couple of years, because monitoring is moving away from just being about monitoring to actually driving the right action. So that's a little bit about AppDynamics. But I want to leave you and take you back to the study which we did, because what I went through today was only a subset of the information. But if you want to learn more information in regards to kind of AppDynamics, then please visit this website which is on the screen. There's also a number of resources that you can download and kind of use. So we've got an Agents of Transformation research report, goes into these results in a lot more detail. We've got the 5 types of technologist ebook, goes into those 5 types in more detail. There's also an interactive assessment where you can find out where you are on your journey to becoming an agent of transformation. But with that, I'd like to say thank you, and thank you for listening to me today. I'm going to hand it over for questions.
Great, thank you ever so much, John. So we probably have about a minute to cover any questions that you guys have. So if you can submit them via the chat. We have had a couple come through already, which have mainly focused around how they can get the research report, John. So just want to iterate that one again, please.
Yes, if you go to www.theagentstransformation.com, you'll be able to take into our kind of microsite in regards to this. There is an interactive assessment on that website. It's just a small series of questions which you can answer, and it'll kind of help you understand which typology you fit into now, and also make recommendations into how you can further your career and become an agent of transformation.
Great, and another question that's come through is, so how can, they've got, someone's actually already gone in and seen that there's a couple of profiles already on the website from like the likes of BP. How can these people who have joined the webinar today go and become agents of transformation?
Well, there's an Agents of Transformation handbook where we provide more active advice, but the first step is go and have a look at those profiles, read the profiles. We've got very in-depth interviews which provide recommendations on how you can further your career. There's a lot of like tips and kind of hints on this. It's well worth reading that. We've also got, coming up later this year, our AppD Global Tour series, which is about to kick off. So we've got events all around Europe. So I encourage you to attend those events as well, because we're going to go into this concept of how we power agents of transformation in more detail.
Great. Okay. And just for everyone on the webinar, to be able to find out the dates for AppD Global Tour, you can go to appdynamics.com/events, and we have all of the dates and the cities listed on there. So as we're up against time, I will let everyone go. So thank you ever so much for joining today's webinar. And if we didn't cover any of your questions, we'll get back to you separately, and enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you ever so much.